This is Logan, a gruff, angry, tormented soul who's nearly immortal and upset about it. This is Wade Wilson, a goofy, jokey, violent clown who's nearly immortal and loves it. Can they get along in the city? Well, no, not really, but they sure have tried a lot. Welcome to Explainiac. I'm Kyle Anderson. This time around, we're going to look at the Marvel Comics history of longtime frenemies with benefits, Wolverine and Deadpool. If you'd like to read more about it, Eric Diaz has you covered over on Nerdist.com. Wolverine is the most popular X-Men universe character, and by extension, one of the most popular in all of Marvel Comics. Deadpool, conversely, wasn't a fan favorite until well after his introduction. But now, thanks to the Ryan Reynolds movies, he's right up there with Wolverine. And in a very real way, both in-universe and without, Deadpool owes his existence to Wolverine. Wolverine first appeared as a Canadian government agent assigned to take down the Hulk in the Incredible Hulk number 181 in 1974. The now iconic issue led to Wolverine becoming one of the new recruits for Charles Xavier's squad in the all-timer giant-size X-Men number 1 in 1975. Over the next decade, this surly short king grew from a kind of annoying member of the X-Men to the baddest of asses. So popular had he become that Wolverine got a series of solo adventures, first in 1982 and later an ongoing series in 1988. You know Wolverine, he's very popular. Deadpool first appeared in the New Mutants number 98 in 1990 under writer Fabian Nicieza and artist, plotter, current wonderkind Rob Liefeld.
Hiya, Rob. Glad to have you here.
How you doing, Stan?
Okay.
Liefeld had come onto the title with issue 87 and ushered in Cable and an era of enormous leg pouches. New Mutants 98 incidentally also introduced Domino, who'd go on to be another 90s staple and Deadpool partner. When New Mutants ended with issue 100, it morphed into X-Force, and Deadpool would return fairly regularly before getting his own spin-off miniseries in 1993, and then another in 94, and then finally an ongoing series beginning in 97. In the regular Marvel Comics continuity, Wolverine and Deadpool first met in 1994's Wolverine number 88 by writer Larry Hama and pencilers Andy Kubert and Fabio Laguna. That issue saw Deadpool trashing an apartment after failing to get his girlfriend back from her new guy, Garrison Kane. Now, Kane was an X-Force character through and through. Dude was supposedly a Weapon X creation and had a metal body and stuff, and pouches naturally, tons of pouches. But you know what? Don't worry about him. He's not important. Anyway, Deadpool's beating up of Kane brought Wolverine into the picture as Kane was his buddy. After trading the usual verbal jabs, then came the actual jabs, with Wade stabbing Logan through the chest with his two swords. And that set the tone for Logan and Wade's relationship, insulting each other, stabbing one another, getting back up and doing it all over again. It's very Chumbawambian. So, I have to confess, I told a little fib. This was the first in-continuity meeting of the two characters, but in actuality, they both appeared in 1993's Toys R Us X-Men Premium Edition. Yeah, it was a real in-store exclusive for participating Toys R Us stores. I had that issue. I read it a ton of times. I didn't know who Psylocke was at the time, so I just thought they drew Jean Grey weird. Not all true stories have to be interesting. While Deadpool and Wolverine, along with the other X-Men, do appear in the same panel, they don't actually do any interacting. But it was 1993! Kids wanted to see their favorite X-Universe characters together, and a weird Geoffrey the Giraffe tie-in was the way to do it. In Wolverine 88, it sure seemed like Wade and Logan were meeting for the very first time. But because comics, this was retconned in the mid-2000s. No, turns out they've known each other for a really long time. Technically. You see, Deadpool isn't a mutant, but the Weapon X program infused the dying Wade Wilson with Wolverine's DNA to give him a healing factor, making him a human mutate. Don't worry about it. Marvel revealed that the first Wolverine and Deadpool fight actually happened when the Winter Soldier, still a brainwashed Hydra agent, hired Wade to take out Logan. This was in an effort to draw out Daken, Wolverine's son who ultimately saved him. Daken is a Nepo baby and someone you do not need to worry about right now. This occurred in 2008's Wolverine origin story Deep End for those keeping track. Deadpool and Wolverine have alternately fought and then teamed up in several comics over the last 3 decades. In one infamous fight in 1999's Deadpool number 27, Wade fought Logan as a form of therapy for depression. Then, during the Deadpool vs. Old Man Logan miniseries, Wade Wilson got into it with the cranky gray-haired version of Logan. In Wolverine Deadpool The Decoy, the two faced a killer robot from space that wanted to kill Jean Grey for all her Phoenix shenanigans. Since Jean was dead at the time, you know, I can sense you starting to worry about this, but Jean died all the time, so I need you to stop worrying about it. Don't worry about it, okay? Anyway, since Jean was dead at the time, Wolverine dressed Wade up as Jean Grey as a distraction until he defeated the killer robot. Then during Rick Remender and Jerome Opena's excellent Uncanny X-Force, the pair were true teammates at last. However, they still butted heads constantly. Why? Because Wolverine is a stubborn asshole and Deadpool is an annoying idiot. It was bound to happen. This is the cyclical nature of their relationship. Sometimes they try to murder each other, and other times they're best buds. In the 90s, they were definitely adversaries, but by the 2000s, they began to bond over their shared trauma at the hands of the Weapon X program. Logan even offered Wade a beer as they reminisced, and this is the surefire tell that Wolverine thinks you're okay. Wolverine was even the one to invite him to join X-Force. So, with all this history between them, it brings up the question, who would actually win in a fight? With over a century and a half of his life and training behind him, Wolverine was likely the better fighter than Deadpool. Although the two have fought numerous times, it's almost always ended in a stalemate. However, despite Wade Wilson's healing factor deriving from Logan's DNA, he had a leg up on the adamantium-clawed mutant. Deadpool literally can't die. Wade was cursed by Thanos with immortality because the Mad Titan was jealous of Deadpool's relationship with his beloved entity of death. Look, do not worry about it. Dan already worried about this one for you 7 years ago. Go check out Baby Dan. So, although Logan's healing factor made it very hard to kill him, he could actually die. Deadpool, not so much. Whenever he loses a limb or even a head, he just regrows a baby version. It's gross. Sometimes, in alternate timeline versions, they do end up killing each other. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe by writer Cullen Bunn and artist Dalibor Talajic did finally show a version of Wade who managed to kill Wolverine. Taking place on an alternate Earth in the multiverse, a supervillain brainwashed Deadpool, who killed every known Avenger and X-Men. Only Wolverine was left standing at the end, but not for long. What did you expect? It's not called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe except one guy. In this story, however, Deadpool needed a carbonadium sword to do it, as that metal is the only one on Earth that can nullify Logan's healing factor. So Wade could kill Logan, he just had to increase his carbonadium footprint. Even now in the current Krakoa era of the comics, Deadpool and Wolverine f with each other. Wolverine is one of the Mutant Island Nation's defenders as part of the clandestine CIA-like version of X-Force. Since the mutants have found a way to resurrect themselves, X-Force can go on literal no-win missions knowing they can just live again. This you actually do need to worry about. Please worry about it. It's a major thing in the comics. Eventually, Deadpool attacked Krakoa, not for any real reason, besides he's just mad at Wolverine and Domino because they didn't ask him to join the version of X-Force. Hell, they even have Omega Red on the team, so that's a huge blow to Wade's ego. Likely out of pity or just being worn down, Logan and company have Deadpool join them as they take on the likes of Kraven the Hunter, the mutant-hating Xeno organization, and even head to outer space. Of course. Did you know the mutants live on Mars now? You know what? Don't worry about it again. Deadpool, as played by Ryan Reynolds, did in fact get his start on screen opposite Wolverine in the very bad X-Men Origins Wolverine movie from 2009. Wade Wilson was a mercenary with a metric ton of confirmed kills. He's still a wisecracking motor mouth, but unlike the comics where he has no X gene, in the movie he's a mutant who's fast enough to deflect bullets with swords. Recruited into William Stryker's mercenary Team X, along with Logan, he was eventually used by the Weapon X program as an experiment. Stryker infused his body with the DNA of several mutants, making him an undefeatable mutant killer. But he had his mouth sewn shut, so the famously talkative character became strangely mute. Let's just say fans hated it. It's me, I'm fans. When eventually Reynolds got another bite at the Wade Wilson apple in 2016's monster hit Deadpool, Wolverine is nowhere to be found. However, we do get a fun meta joke where Wade puts on a Hugh Jackman magazine photo over his face. Then, in Deadpool 2, which teamed Deadpool up with Cable and Domino in a version of X-Force, he makes a joke about how the movie Logan was really good and showed up Deadpool. Even in the real world, Deadpool and Wolverine compete. But not much longer. Hugh Jackman will finally don the iconic yellow costume opposite Reynolds for Deadpool 3, the MCU era's first real X movie. It looks like they'll be properly teamed up here, which will be extra fun to see. Wolverine has a different dynamic with Deadpool than Cable does, and Wolverine has a better sense of fun, even if Wade annoys him to high hell. With the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes ongoing, Deadpool 3 production has had to halt, but the movie is still slated for release in May of 2024 as of this recording. And that's the very truncated and yet still quite long history of Wolverine v Deadpool, Dawn of Stabbing. What's your favorite Logan Deadpool team up? What's your favorite all-out brawl? Let us know in the comments, and why not leave a like while you're there? If you want to keep listening to me and others talk about this kind of thing, why not listen to Laser Focus? It's a new podcast that I host on the Nerdist Network, and you can find it anywhere you get podcasts. Laser Focus. Please come and listen. I'm Kyle Anderson, and remember, not everything in life can be explained. For everything else, there's this show.